You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to
Hi everyone,
rest.
welcome from your Intuition Queen to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. Today, I have the pleasure to have with me Tracey Gazel, who is a light worker guide. Hi Tracey, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, I know you work with Lightworker and Empath, and also you work with the connection with angels. Would you like to tell us how this happened? What made you want to do what you do?
Sure. Yeah, so basically I help empaths step into their purpose as healers. I help them first heal themselves as sensitive people, and then connect to their guides and angels, and then work with the power of the angels and their spirit guides to work as healers, to help heal others and heal the world. And yeah, I definitely wasn't always this way. So it was about 5 years ago now that my dad passed away. And that was really a turning point for me. It was basically like my awakening time. Prior to that, I was always really sensitive, and I wasn't aware of it. I think like most of us are. I was an empath, super sensitive, an HSP, like overstimulated by everything all the time. And it was very overwhelming for me. I was always very exhausted, and I would wear other people's problems as if they were my own. I had, mild anxiety, and I even broke out in a skin condition, like this really rare form of psoriasis.
Wow.
And in hindsight, yeah, I think it was really just me absorbing problems, absorbing stress, because once I dealt with that and faced that, it just completely cleared up and never came back. So I had this long history of being super sensitive, but not really knowing what to do about it and how to handle it. And then when I was about 20, I started taking meditation classes with a meditation teacher. And that really helped me start to learn how to balance my own energy. But then, so 5 years ago, I was in my late 20s, and my dad passed away from a terrible neurodegenerative disease. It's very rare, kind of like ALS, where the brain just starts shutting down, but you're still cognitively aware of what's happening to you, but the parts of the brain that control automatic functioning starts to just shut down. So it was a really hard 2 years watching him just pass away with no treatment, no cure, there was nothing. There's no known cure for this disease. So it was really just like waiting for him to die. And it was very painful for him and hard for us to watch. So he passed away. And the first thing that happened, so he passed away one evening about 8 o'clock at night at the hospice. And I was there with him, talking him through, taking his last breath and stopping breathing and holding his hand and all that. That night, he came to me in a dream, and it wasn't just a dream. It was a visitation. It felt, anyone who's had one of these, it feels so different than a dream. It was a visit. And he looked like he did before he got sick. He was back to his healthy body. He dressed like he always used to dress, like jeans and a white t-shirt. And he said to me, "Tracy, I need you to know that I'm safe and I'm okay." And he showed me the infinity sign. Yeah. And the infinity sign. And to me, that really meant like life is unending. So that was pretty cool. And then a couple of days later, I'm riding my mountain bike, trying to just, relax. I'm just in full blown grief. I'm stressed. I'm sad. I'm upset. And I'm riding my mountain bike with my husband. And all of a sudden, I hear my dad start laughing and talking to me while I'm riding my bike. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, I was so shocked. I didn't understand what was happening. And I got to the bottom of the trail to meet my husband. And I remember thinking, like, I had sunglasses on because it was sunny. And I was crying. And I remember thinking, like, I'm so glad I have sunglasses on because I can hide that I'm crying, because I thought that there was something wrong with me. So I thought, hearing his voice, I was either creating this out of sadness and grief and stress, and I was hearing what I wanted to hear, or the only other thing I could think of is I must be mentally ill. I have my psychology degree. And so I learned in university that if you're hearing voices in your head, like there's a problem, and
Oh,
you need to
wow.
go, yeah, and you need to go to the hospital, you need to go to the psych ward and get an assessment. Like that's what I learned in school. And so I thought I'm either falling apart in the throes of grief or I have schizophrenia, and both were not good options.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was afraid to tell anyone, even my husband, who's my best friend. So I am at the end of the trail crying and just trying to hide it because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to tell my husband or anyone what's happening to me. And it really, after that day, it continued on. I just heard him every day. He was standing beside me, just not in a body. He stayed with me.
Was he saying things like always the same thing? Like, was he saying things like messages for you, or was like old conversation that you had already had with him?
Conversation. So that on that mountain bike trail, he was going woo 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 woo, and said like, "Tracy, I see why you like this so much. This is so much fun. Wow, this is so fun." And I'm going, "Oh my God, like what's?" And it wasn't like this, the clouds parted like the Lion King, and like the dad comes and gives this like wise advice. No, it was super conversational and casual, and it was so casual that it was shocking. And that's how it continued. And so I just stuck with it. I used my meditation tools that I had learned previously to drop it to meditation and to connect with him and to talk to him. And then I learned that I'm very clairaudient. So there's the different psychic senses, right? Clairvoyance is the most known one. Mine is not as strong. I'm more of a hearer. So it's just like I hear so clearly that it's feels like I hear voices, but they're outside of me. Yeah, and so then I just stuck with it. I continued to hide. I continued to not tell my husband, my mom, my friends, anyone about this out of fear that, again, I was crazy, or that I was losing it, or that I was weird. I had all these stories going on in my head, what was wrong with me. But I would continue to talk to my dad, and it was like he never left. And so a couple of months went by. We're standing in my kitchen, and I'm in a deep meditation. I'm talking to him, and all of a sudden I use my meditation tools to open my awareness and cast my awareness outside of my aura. And I noticed I was surrounded by a whole crowd of beings. And again, I got really scared. I was just like a whole bunch of stories of me being scared, right? Awakening is not like rainbows and butterflies. It's like being petrified.
Yeah.
So I said to my dad, like, okay, there you are on my right-hand side, but who are all these others, like all around me? Like, what's going on? And he said, Tracy, just as you have a whole group of people there who love and support you, you have a whole group here who love and support you. And he introduced me to my team of spirit guides and angels and my guardian angel from the other side.
Wow.
Yeah, which was like so special. And when I heard my guardian angel's name, it was this name that I had heard in the back of my mind my whole life, and I didn't know why. It kept popping into my head. And so when I finally met him, it was like, oh, that's why I hear that name.
There you are.
Yeah, so at that time, I didn't believe in angels. I never heard the term spirit guide before. I really didn't understand what was happening. And so I went to the library, I read a ton of books, and I was Googling like spirit, and like the term spirit guide came up, and I was like, oh, spirit guide, like that's a thing. And I always thought that angels were really religious figures, the cherubs, the like statuesque figures, and that didn't resonate with me because I didn't associate myself with organized religion. And so I thought angels were just part of organized religion, and so that's not for me. And yeah, so that sent me down this road of trying to understand what was happening to me and how to develop this. Turns out, I'm an intuitive and very clairaudient. And so I signed up with a bunch of different mentors and took some different courses and really learned how to hone this skill. And so now here I am 5 years later, many courses and mentors later and meditation classes. And I'm so happy to be here and share and talk about my experience. And now my passion is truly helping other empaths learn how to manage their sensitivity, learn how to heal themselves, and see it as the gift it is. It's not a curse. Once you learn how to manage it, it is a complete gift and a blessing. And from there, you're able to connect with your own team of guides and angels, because every single person is surrounded by a team of guides and angels your entire life from the moment you're born. And I really think so few people tap into this amazing power that's with you all the time. I know you're the intuitive queen, and really I think a lot of the intuition that we receive is from our guides and our angels whispering guidance to us. And the more we can tap into their power, their love, their guidance, their support, the easier and more wonderful our life becomes.
I love this. This is such a beautiful topic. But I want to go back a little bit. First of all, I want to say I really much relate to your story about your dad passing away, you having, as you said, this awakening, because it happened to me at the same time, like 5 years ago. And so that kind of propelled me to want to actually do what I do now. And when you were saying, because you said that you hear, I actually feel and see. And I did feel my dad oftentimes right around the corner, to a point that one day I had just left my best friend and we had talked about him. And I'm like there waiting at the bus stop, and I feel like someone is right behind me. And I'm like, what is this? It was so strong that I was like, this must be him, because we have just finished talking about him, and I'm pretty sure he's here to tell me it's okay, it's gonna be okay. But as you said, and I also relate to the fact that angels also for me were something related to religion or to art, and so I like this. But you said something that I want to go back, and it's you said that you were so sensitive that you didn't really know how to manage that. And I think there are so many people that are like this. I used to be told many times, oh, you're so sensitive. It wasn't a thing that pissed me off. I was like, hey, yeah, you're cold. But I've heard a lot of stories, and I met a lot of women through the podcast that have had this experience of being extremely sensitive and not really knowing what to do, and feeling that they're wrong, there's something wrong with them, they're too sensitive, they're too weak. And so society might not necessarily treat them well because they don't want to deal with this kind of person because it's just too much. And so now that you know what that was, what would you say, what would be your advice to people that are in that situation, they're feeling like in the exact same way you did?
Yeah, thanks. It's a great question. And I agree that there are so many people in the world that are that way. And there's a few ways to kind of confirm if you are that way. So first, if you find it difficult to watch the news or to watch, when there's sad, violent things on the news, or movies or TV shows that are violent or extremely sad, and you cry very easily. Also, if you feel when you're talking to someone and they start telling you their problems, right? So first, other people feel totally comfortable in sharing their problems and their issues with you, and you're often the counselor and advice giver for your friends and your family. So other people are already energetically picking up that you are a healer because they feel safe in sharing their problems with you. And I mean, I get this from grocery store clerks, I get it from waitresses, and I'm sure a lot of people listening as well, and yourself as well, right? It's sometimes you ask yourself, like, I don't remember asking you about your divorce, and who are you and why are you telling me about it?
I'm like, why are you talking to me? You don't know me. What they say to me is like, oh, I don't know, you just have this calming aura and energy, and I just feel I can tell you everything. I'm like, Okay. I don't know, you don't. True. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
That's another one. And then another piece is, so they do tell you their problems and then you feel them. You feel them in your own body. You might feel the emotion. You might start crying. You might feel like you're a lump in your throat or in your gut, or even you feel their physical pain. A lot of empaths and sensitive people are so sensitive that you go into a crowded place, like a shopping mall, and you're picking up on people's headaches, their backaches, and you think it's your own, but you're just so sensitive. You're literally feeling the emotions and the physical pain of other people and absorbing it. So that's a few symptoms. So if people are saying, yes, 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 that's me, then great. It's a blessing. It's not a curse. It can feel like a curse, but you just need to learn how to manage it. And really, my number one first piece of advice is meditation and self-care, which are basically like one and the same for me. It's spending at least 5 or 10 minutes every single day tuning inward and getting familiar with what your own energy feels like. Because once you know what your own energy feels like, then you know what someone else's energy feels like when they are in your space. You can identify like, oh, that's really negative, that's really heavy, that's really foreign, and I don't want to absorb that. I know who I am and what I feel like. And it's all about observing rather than absorbing. But the first piece of that is having the awareness of what and who you are first. So then you can observe others from a distance, a safe distance. And it's a wonderful gift to want to help others. That's another thing about empaths and sensitive people. We truly want to help others. My theory on that is that because conflict and pain and suffering affects us so much, that we just want everyone to be happy, because that just feels better for us, and we want everyone to feel happy. And it's a wonderful gift to have, to be a healer and to want to help others, but you must do it from a safe place where you filled your own cup first, right? You can prioritize self-care, you're meditating, you are so strong and your cup is so full that you help others from the overflow. And from that place of overflow is where you are like the most amazing healer in the world, because you can pick up on all those subtleties. And
I like that.
Yeah.
I like what you just said, because I feel that, self-care, filling your cup, it's the most important thing in all occasion, because otherwise you're just not able to help, to love, to be a friend, to be in any relationship that is important to you. And I think this is super important, but something that a lot of women struggle to do, because we have this thing that we need to take care of everybody. And we forget about us. And for someone so sensitive, this is extra important, because as you said, we pick up on so much that is going on around us that is nothing to do with us. And so it's super important. So you said at the beginning that you didn't want to talk about what was going on with your husband and anybody else around you. How did you break that wall? What was that thing that made you say, okay, I'm just gonna go and tell them?
Yes, because that went on for years. Like, I was in the spiritual closet for like years, like 4 years. I'm up at 5 a.m. I'm like connecting with ascended masters and having crazy experiences with archangels, and like throughout the day I'm like having conversations with my spirit guide. All this is going on and I'm not telling a soul. I'm completely in the closet. And it got really difficult, and I would try and bring it up with some of my friends and casually drop some of these things, and they would look at me like I had 3 heads, and then that would make me just retreat more and be like, this isn't safe, I'm weird, nobody understands me. And it was a very lonely place. And I've also interviewed people who have been through a similar process, and they started out the same, saying it was very lonely. So really what broke me out was I did shadow work. And I did that with a mentor, where I faced my fears, and it felt before that like I had a vice around my neck, around my throat chakra, and I would try and talk, and it was like this clamp was on there, and the shadow work really released it. And the process of the shadow work, my ego, my human mind was telling me that basically I was going to die if I shared this with the world, it was like, everyone who loves you is going to leave you. These are my own inner thoughts. I'm just going to be honest. It was like, they're not going to love you anymore. Your mom's not going to accept you. Your husband's going to leave you. This is what I was telling myself. But the desire to step into the work and the desire to share this amazing information that like everybody has a team of spirit guides and angels. You know, every empath is a healer, and we don't die. Like, we're spirits in a body, and our bodies die, but we continue on. And so life doesn't have to be so scary because we don't die, and we can use this beautiful gift to create what we want to create. And I was like, I have to share this information with the world. I can't hold this in any longer. It was just, I got to a point where it's like, if my loved ones leave me because they can't accept me, then they're not on the same path as me, and I can't, it's fine. And fortunately, as I came out of the spiritual closet, they did still love me and support me, but that was what my mind was telling me would happen. And maybe they don't understand. My husband and my mom are like, give me looks sometimes like, okay, my mom's told me that I'm creepy, you know, that doesn't feel nice. But I can allow her to be as she is, and she can allow me to be as I am, and we support each other, and it's beautiful. And I'm the freedom on the other side of the closet here since I've broken out is absolutely incredible. And so that's why I really am a lightworker guide, and I mentor others in breaking out of the closet, because gotta tell you guys, the outside of the closet is a whole new, wonderful, incredible experience.
Yeah, oh my God, I can imagine. Yeah, the freedom, you know, being able to share your gift, because this is, you know, a gift, and this is the reason that you're here for. But I want to talk a little bit about what your mind was telling you, because it was kind of like really, really hard. It wasn't just, you know, you are stupid, what you're talking about, who do you think you are, like, that of course you like, of course, yeah. But I can imagine that you didn't want to share because, you know, telling you that you're going to lose everybody that you love, it's a big thing. So how did you manage to break that though, and get to a point of allowing yourself to just say it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've done shadow work before, but it's, you really just put yourself, you really just put yourself out there. And I did it with a mentor who, we had a lot of warm up, but then the end of the class was like going on your personal Facebook page and sharing a live video and sharing everything.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know I signed up for that. Like, that wasn't in the like course description. You know, I was like, oh, and I was shaking when I did it. And then for 24 hours after, I was purging, which apparently is a thing, where I was almost throwing up. I was so nauseous. I was so sick. I was crying and shaking. And I was still, that's because my ego was in full blast, like,
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna die. You're gonna be alone. Like, what have you done? And I was just, it was horrible, but I had the support of my coach and friends who are now my like lifelong friends that were like, don't delete it, don't delete it, don't delete it. And then 24 hours later, I was like, I'm not dead.
I'm alive.
I'm not going to throw up. My family still accepts me. Some people think it's really cool. Now people want to start paying me for my services, which is my dream, because I'm allowing myself to be the open channel and share this information. How can you step into this work as a light worker if nobody knows what you do? You know, it's like having a store with no sign out front.
Yeah.
It's so key. You have to come out if you have this mission on your heart as a light worker, which so many people do because we're in the middle of an ascension and people are rising up into this purpose as a healer. You must be able to come out and know that it's not easy, but it takes time, and someone can help you do that. And now that's what I help others do too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you said it completely right. I think this year is a preparation for everyone to shift. And then there's going to be people that, of course, will have this big shift and then decide to do this work, and others are still going to be, there's going to be this shift. So how did you transition from, okay, now you said it, you talk to the people that you love. How was the process for you from that moment onwards, in terms of how did you feel? And also, what was the reaction of the people that you loved?
Yeah, so part of the video was through my coach. At the end, I had to share what my medicine is on my heart and how I'm here to help the world because of what happened to me. And so it turned into like my first way to advertise myself and say, I help others meet their team of spirit guides and angels. I help others connect. I do readings. I love to do baby spirit readings. That's kind of how I started out, is people wanting to get pregnant or people who had had abortions. I do baby spirit readings for them. Because if you're wanting to get pregnant or you've had an abortion, they often have like a baby spirit in your orbit that I can tune into, which is cool. So at the end of the video, I shared that. So some of the responses were people saying, wow, that's so cool. Like, when can I sign up? I want help. That's what I need. Some of my friends definitely pulled away, you know, like they weren't able to understand. They weren't able to meet me there. And that's part of this journey, is as you continue to raise your vibration and go higher and step further in your purpose, some people just can't meet you there and they're just going to fall away. And that's okay. You need to release them with love and just let them sleep. Know that they're on their own path, and you will meet others who will meet you where you're at. My family, my husband is supportive, which is amazing. Like I felt like I was taking a big risk. He's not into it. I didn't know how he would react. He doesn't really get it, but he listens. And sometimes he hints that he's been doing his own reading. Like the other day he brought up ley lines and I was like, you know, he's like, oh, are you in the ether again? Like, are you with the ley lines? And I'm like, how do you know the ley lines? And he's like doing his own kind of research. So in his own way, he's supportive, even though he doesn't always know what to say. Like he's energetically supportive. And my mom loves that I'm following what's on my heart, and she'll get me like, I've got this thing on my wall behind me and it's like, follow your dreams. And she got it for me, even though she doesn't understand what my dreams are. So yeah, so whatever your mind and your ego is telling you is going to happen when you come out of the closet and you step into your work as a light worker, it's likely not going to happen. Like your ego, its job is to keep you safe and survive, but it doesn't understand the idea of stepping into your purpose. It wants you to stay safe and sheltered and settling for the mediocre, but that's not what being a light worker is about at all. And so it's just learning to tame that ego. And when it gets super loud and the resistance is so huge, like I said, the purging, like I thought I was going to throw up and I thought I was going to die, that usually means you're right on the verge of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're in that space, know that it's okay. And it's just about to get amazing, even though, again, you think you're going to die, but you don't. So
yeah. Oh, I love this. And I think, you know, this is important because I feel that, you know, yes, it's important to have like a support system of people that love you and friends and people that do what you do, but it's not always so easy, especially when you start out, especially when you start to want to, I feel that when you learn all those things, you want to share it with everybody, you want to help everyone. And then you meet people that are like, oh, whoa, what are you talking about? Stay away from me. I don't want to hear it. And oftentimes those people are family or very close friends that just don't, as you said, they're not there and they won't be able to understand, at least at that moment. Maybe they will later, or they won't, and things will change. But it is important, I feel, for everybody that decides to go on this path to just, you know, do one thing at a time. Don't be upset if people don't understand it, because of course we are all on a different path and we're just going to attract who is energetically on our side. Yeah.
And so this kind of like circles me back to when I said meditation first thing in the morning is so important. Same thing for not only empaths just learning they're sensitive, but same thing for light workers on this path, because every day tuning into who you really are, what your purpose is on your heart, what is that fire you have inside of you, what are you visualizing that you want to create, what's your ideal life, what's your purpose, how does that feel to imagine yourself already there doing it, being accepted and loved and supported by everyone. If you tune into that place every single day, every single morning, then when you come across those people throughout your day that are like, what are you talking about? Or maybe they don't support you, you know in your heart what your truth is. And so it doesn't tear you down. You can just, again, let them sleep. release them with love, be like, it's okay. I know who I am and why I'm here. And you do your thing. I'll do my thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And yeah, it gives you that confidence to be like, you know, I know this is right. So, and you know, I think it just as it happens in life, not everyone will agree with you on certain things, and that doesn't mean that you won't be friends anymore, or maybe it means that you won't be friends anymore. And so this is the exact same thing, just is more personal, because it's your purpose, it's who you are and what you're here for. So yeah. um I kind of want to talk about this thing of having so many people supporting us. I've learned that through my journey, but even for me it was like, what? who who are these people? Because I feel that it's much easier to say, okay, so this person passed on, and so this person now is my angel, but it's not necessarily in that kind of way. Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So you mean like who's in your spirit team?
I mean, yeah, I guess everybody has a different team, but
yeah, but there are some major components that most people share. So everyone has a guardian angel. I think that's the most commonly known thing. It's often standing behind you. It's like a silent protector. And again, due to free will, they cannot intervene in your life unless you ask them, except if you're about to die prematurely and it's not part of your path. They step in. And there are so many stories out there of people about to be in a car accident who are miraculously like carried or caught before they hit the ground. There's people who are drowning that are miraculously saved. So and they can hear, sometimes the guardian angel will say, stop. That's a common thing to hear, because you're not supposed to die then. So anyways, otherwise they're very silent unless you ask them to step forward and help you. The other piece that every single person has is a primary spirit guide. And they are like the spokesperson for your entire team. So the other guides that come and go, we have so many guides and we get more throughout our life. As we ascend, as we raise our vibration, we get different guides too, or people pass away and they join our group. But basically our primary spirit guide speaks for the group for the most part. And the primary spirit guide has been a human before in a past life, whereas angels typically have not. They're typically just angels. They're higher vibrational beings than humans are. Spirit guides used to live as humans. And so your primary spirit guide came into a contract with you to support you for the entirety of this lifetime. And it's often because they know you from a previous life, right? Because why would they agree to support you if they don't know you? And so my primary spirit guide is a female. She stands right on my left all the time. And it took me a while to recognize her presence. My mentor actually helped me do it, because we're so used to them standing beside us that they feel like an extension of our own energy. And so we're not even really aware because they've just always been there. But sometimes kids who have imaginary friends, they see them or they experience them. But basically, so I met mine with the help of my mentor, and I asked her to show me, like, how do we know each other? And she showed me a flash, an image of a past life where we were both wearing black and white. And it took me a while to figure it out. And I realized we were nuns. And I think it was France, like hundreds of years ago. She showed me a whole scene, and we were sisters, not just nun sisters, but also sisters. And so in this life, I don't have a sister. And so it's pretty cool to get like a bonus sister who's with me all the time. And we just communicate like all the time. And, you know, your thoughts have energy just as your words do. So we can communicate using our thoughts. And she's just always giving me advice. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and you know, when you're trying to put a baby down and to sleep and you're not sure that they're asleep yet and you're not sure you can leave the room, she would always like tell me, wait another minute, or okay, you can go now, and like help me know when I could creep out of the room. It's this really cool.
That's handy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or like, where's my keys? Or like, help me, you know, this doesn't have to be huge, big life decisions that your guides and angels help you with. It can be small day-to-day things. And then from there, you have all these other spirit guides that do different things. I've done readings for people. One woman was a nurse, and one of her guides was like her science guide, who helped her remember all of the intricate pharmacology things that nurses need to remember. And he would like whisper in her ear and help her remember those things. Sometimes it's grandparents or great grandparents or other ancestors. Sometimes people have like a Native American guide or an animal guide. I mean, even like a unicorn guide. Like there's just so many, and it starts to become this entourage that is with you all the time. Archangels sometimes come in, and often ascended masters are present for people who are light workers, because the ascended masters are with you. They're the ones urging you forward. Like when you feel that pressure, that urgency, like I have to step into this work. I have to do this now. Like I have to do this yesterday. I have to figure this out. That's often archangels, ascended masters nudging you, being like, you know, this is your path. This is your purpose, kind of giving you gentle pushes.
Oh, this is so fascinating, and it's so beautiful to know that there is like a team, because I feel that everybody kind of maybe knows there is some sort of maybe someone or maybe one or two people behind, but knowing that there is a team, it's kind of like gives you a different perception of the help that you can get and how much support, especially if you are going through a lot of issues and struggles, or maybe you've had situations in the past where you didn't feel supported and loved. I feel this is it kind of gives a lot of hope to people to be like, okay, well, if when I cannot find physical support in this work from the people that I love, I know I can ask for help from the people that are standing behind me.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're never alone. You're always supported. And it's by a group of beings who've known you longer than you've known yourself. And yes, when you're on this path of being a light worker and you feel maybe not supported externally by the external environment and world, you are always internally supported. And I find that really just motivates you and encourages you to continue forward, because you can feel that love. And they're just waiting, I used to say they're patiently waiting, but now it's like they're impatiently waiting for you to ask for their help. Like that's all that they want. They've been standing beside you since you were born, waiting for you to ask for their help so they can help you.
All right, so my next question now at this point is, if someone wants to connect to one or a few or all of them, what can they do as a first thing, like as a first approach? And then of course maybe it's probably better to go to someone like you and have a reading done, so then things are clear. But if someone has never done this before and would like to get one guidance from someone that helps them move forward, or just feel more confident or more love or more supported, how can they do that?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things I had running through my mind there. But the very first thing is just saying hi. Like just reaching out. Yeah, and just acknowledging their presence and starting the conversation. A lot of people get hung up on signs, you know, like, oh, I see butterflies. Oh, I see dimes. Like, is that a sign, or what is this? And is that a feather? And that can be really confusing at first, because you don't really know what's the sign and what isn't. And that kind of comes a little bit later on. And then another piece that comes a bit later on that makes it easier is learning your psychic sense. So you mentioned feeling is strong for you, and seeing. And for me, it's hearing and feeling. And that's something I help others do, is learn what is your strongest psychic sense, so that you learn how to receive information and communicate back and forth in your own unique way, because there's no right or wrong way to do it. But really, day one to get started today, which I encourage everyone listening to do, just to start this wonderful path, is just say hello and say that you're open to connecting, and just see what happens.
Right. I love that. This is very simple, because we think that you need to do something a little bit like maybe meditation or do something more, but really is that easy. I have a question. So would they, like, even if you're not because you know, we dream a lot, and I often hear people say, oh my god, I had this weirdest dream, or whatever it is. I guess they do come through in dreams. So what do you suggest when how would you say you can get messages from there, especially when you remember the dream and you know there has been weird things happening, or you just feel like you were there and it was real?
Yeah. So how to get messages in your dreams? Or is that the question? Yeah. So basically, before you go to bed, just say, dear, whoever you feel comfortable speaking to, right? Like, because labels can be a thing for people. Some people are comfortable with God, some the universe, source, the creator, angels, archangels, guides. Like, it doesn't really matter. They're always listening. It doesn't really matter what label you pick. Labels are human created. So do whatever feels right on your heart. So maybe you say, dear guides, you know, I ask that you come and see me in my dreams tonight. I ask for guidance in my dreams tonight. Dreams are often an easier place for them to get through because the human thinking mind, that ego, is sleeping and they can get in. And I have had a couple experiences of dreams where I saw an angel for the first time, which was really, really cool. It wasn't what I, you know, imagined. It wasn't what you see. It was more like a fluid nymph kind of looking thing. And I mean, they change and they project differently, but yeah, so just asking for them to come visit you. Some people are more open to dreams than others. Like I've heard clairvoyant people are more receptive in dreams because they're already so visual. Some people aren't. So again, it's really just learning your unique style, but it's a great way to start again and just to put it out there and ask and just see what happens.
Oh, I love this. I really like this because it's very simple, but it's accessible to everybody. And it just like, and I feel that if you ask for them to come through, then you don't need to feel scared about it. As opposite, if they come through in a way that maybe happened to you, and then you just feel like, oh, what's going on? And oh, I love this.
Because anyone can do it. I just want to mention that, like, it's true. Anybody can do this. You don't have to be psychic. You don't have to come from a long family of psychics. Like, we are all spirits living in a body. And so we can all communicate with other spirits. Like, anyone can do this.
Yeah. And I feel this is something that we are in a way or another accustomed to, that we all, I feel that everybody starts believing in some sort of religion because maybe family believed in that religion. Then you might detach from that, but then you know how to contact your God and talk to your God. And so I feel this is very much similar, instead of, you know, and as you mentioned, if you want to talk to God, it's God, otherwise it could be anything else. And it is the same way.
Yeah, totally. And to me, like religion, organized religion, you know, if that's for you, that's great. And to me, it's something that is externally, you're told what's right and what to do and how to do things, whereas spirituality is going within and going inside and connecting to the God of your heart, the universe, source, because we are all streams of that energy and we can go inside for all the answers and advice and guidance that we need.
I agree with you. I very much agree with you. I feel it's much more expansive, like when you think in that way, as opposite to think about. But you know, I come from a Catholic country, so that's why I agree. All right. So at this point, if someone wants to get in touch with you, where can we find you?
Yeah, so my website is traceygazel.com. So hopefully we can send like a link to that. And then I also have a really bustling Facebook group called the Angel Activation Tribe, where I share content almost daily about all these topics, how to connect, really practical things. I share meditations because again, I really think that's step number one. And so that's something I love to share with others, is guided audio meditations to just help others get started. A lot of people don't know what to do when they meditate. It's so hard to sit and not have any thoughts. Like, if nobody can do that, like if you think I can't meditate because I can't sit and not think, well, nobody can do that. Like, it's impossible. So that's why I created guided visualizations for something for you to focus on. And that's how I learned meditation. And then it's a beautiful way to spend 10-15 minutes and go inward. I share that. I'm really on Instagram as well. So I'm sharing a lot of content all over, and just find me and I'd love to help you out.
All right. Okay. I really love your story, Tracey. And I feel this topic is so beautiful and something that we all need, because we all need some support that comes from a different kind of it's not just necessarily our family and friends, someone that is kind of out there, we don't see it. So I feel we all need this. So to close up, what would be your advice for anybody watching and listening to this, especially for women that might find it hard to connect to their guides?
Yeah, so self-care is number one. As empaths and highly sensitives, we were talking about how much we give to others. And as a result, we often put ourselves at the bottom of the priority list. If you're a busy woman who's got kids and a family and job and this and that, you probably find you don't get to your self-care at the end of the day because you're just too tired and you just want to put your feet up. And that's totally understandable. But so what I would recommend, number one, is to prioritize and schedule your self-care very first thing in the morning. Wake up 10 minutes earlier. I promise you it'll be worth it. And just spend a few minutes. Try meditation. If not, that's fine. Go for a walk. Go inward. Have a bath. Do something to love yourself as the very first thing of the day, so that whatever comes your way the rest of the day, your million things on your to-do list, you know that you've already spent that time going inward and tuning into yourself.
I love this. Yes. I think it's super important for us women, for everybody, but for us women, we always running around for so many different things. And yeah, and probably first thing is in the morning, so you've done it. So you can't forget about it. Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tracey, thank you so much for being here today. It's been such a beautiful conversation. I just feel the love already. It just I really love this topic, and thank you so much for sharing your experience and your story and what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been really fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Wow, what a beautiful topic, don't you think? I feel that everybody has guides, and we know it, we feel it. So if you're interested in getting to understand more about this topic or connect them, just try the exercises that Tracey gave you, or get in touch with her. All the notes will be all the details will be in the show notes. And if you want to get in touch with me, just go to my website, theintuitionqueen.com. You can find me more active on Instagram as The Intuition Queen. If you go to my website, you will find all my packages, all the coaching sessions that I offer. I hope you liked this episode. And if you did, please do leave me some stars or leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Oh, that's all for me, and I'll see you next week. Thanks. Ciao. Bye.
Your future's at the door.